With your latest news, I'm April Cummings. Less than a year after COVID-19 reaches our shores, the islands receive its first batches of vaccine. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins reports from Owen Roberts International Airport today.
The Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine has officially landed. At Owen Roberts International Airport, the British Airways flight has brought passengers and what many hope is the answer to the pandemic. There are 9,750 doses that have arrived on the BA flight, enough for over 4,000 people. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is on site to escort the vehicle transporting the vaccines to ensure they arrive safely. There are 3 stages set to disperse the vaccine. Stage 1 prioritizes people who are over 70, healthcare workers, all frontline staff dealing with incoming travelers, residents, and staff of institutional facilities. A schedule on the locations the vaccine will be available from will be released by Health Services Authority tomorrow, January 6th. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
If you're immunocompromised, you may be wondering whether you can get the COVID-19 vaccine in the islands when it's available to the public. Government confirms that you can. People who are immunosuppressed or have, for example, HIV infection can be given COVID-19 vaccine. In fact, even if you're healthy, government says they're recommending you consider the vaccine. The range of impact from COVID-19 is pretty wide. It can be as small as a sniffle or cause life-threatening complications, even if you're healthy. And officials say there is no way to know how COVID-19 will affect you. If you get sick, there's also the risk of spreading the disease to friends, family, and others around you. Government says there are a number of factors to consider when thinking about the COVID-19 vaccine. For example, it is not yet recommended if you're pregnant. To help you understand more about the COVID-19 vaccine, visit the FAQ page at exploregov.ky/FAQs. There were more positives for COVID-19 in today's test results, 3 from the 368 results reported since Monday. All 3 are asymptomatic travelers. There are 947 people in isolation currently. The islands have 43 active cases, 32 are asymptomatic, 11 have symptoms, but there are no current hospitalizations. In other local news, a less than stellar report card for Cayman's education system as the Office of Education Standards releases its annual report. Radio Cayman's Paula Cal has more.
Since 2018, the OES has completed inspections at 53 schools across the Cayman Islands, covering 22 in 2020 alone. In this recently published annual report, the OES says around 25% of students are attending good or excellent schools. Only 1/4 of all schools are performing at the expected level for Cayman. The report says approximately 75% of students are attending schools that are judged to be not yet meeting the expected level of performance, according to the OES Successful Schools and Achieving Students criteria. The annual report shows that more than 80% of Caymanian students are attending schools that are judged to be not yet meeting the expected level of performance. Out of the government school inspected, only Lighthouse School was judged to be good. Of the 13 schools whose overall performance was judged to be weak, 3 were revisited by inspectors and found to have made satisfactory progress in addressing the recommendations from the last inspection. In the 2019 annual report, Every School, a Good School, OES made a number of recommendations suggesting pathways to future success. The 2020 annual report says, quote, there has been slow progress in addressing those recommendations. For Radio Cayman News, I am Paul Akal.
Log on to oes.gov.ky to view the full OES Annual Report 2020 Data Analysis document. Get ready for a dry start to 2021. Radio Cayman's Carsley Fuller has more from the National Weather Service Climate All-in-One Bulletin.
Every month, the National Weather Service sends out the report, which breaks down some of the more interesting weather events over the last few months, as well as teeing up what's to come. According to the report, average temperatures range between 72 and 88 degrees Fahrenheit in November, with average temperatures at about 82 degrees. Looking ahead, the National Weather Service says January to March is likely to be drier than usual, with frequent dry spells and a short-term drought expected. The forecast suggests temperatures to be below normal between January and March. Looking at precipitation, Cayman saw 32 inches of rain in in the September through November period, which is above the normal range. The January to March outlook usually sees 3 to 5 inches of rain, but this year it's calling for about 40% probability of above normal rainfall. Historically, during this period, there are 8 to 19 wet days. The forecast indicates around 9 to 20 for the next 3 months. Between 0 and 1.6 wet spells typically occur from January to March, and the forecast indicates no wet spells for Cayman. Looking at temperature in between September and November, the average temperature was 83 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about normal. The usual temperature range for January to March at Owen Roberts is 78 degrees, and this year's outlook calls for 33% probability of above normal temperatures. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Karsley Fuller.
Local residents took advantage of this year's Arrive Alive 345 campaign, which was designed to promote safety and reduce road incidents associated with the overindulgence or abuse of alcohol during the holiday season. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego caught up with prevention specialist at the National Drug Council, Simon Miller, to find out more.
This year, we estimate that we transported just over 2,000 passengers, which really showed that the local population utilized the service. Most of the riders were in the West Bay Road area because of the parties and functions that were taking place down there. But we're very happy, very pleased overall.
As you've said, 2,000 people took advantage of the campaign this time around. What does that mean for the NDC to have this campaign each year and knowing that you're doing a service to residents and the members of the public during a crucial time of the year?
Well, every year, the sponsors are really, they are the heroes and the riders themselves for not only taking and being responsible, but it goes to show again that we have, the campaign does really is recognized by our local population. Last year we had a lot of tourists on island, the year before last really, and they also utilized the bus service. And this year was, because of the low number of tourists here, we were actually eager and wanting to see what our local population, how supportive they was going to be in regards to the program or the campaign. And when we've tallied up the numbers, and those are the numbers that we have arrived at, and we're very pleased, very, very pleased. So it goes to show that, our local population is taking, road safety very, very seriously. They are being responsible. They are utilizing the New Year's Eve bus service thanks to a number of our sponsors. And in addition to that, too, Shanda, was the designated driver program, which is the restaurant and bar component. We have got a number of reports from those establishments that, throughout the holiday season, people were coming in there identifying themselves as the designated driver for their party and therefore receiving non-alcoholic beverages for the evening. So that is also, we're very pleased to hear about that.
This year, the campaign celebrated its 20th anniversary. The Queen Elizabeth II Botanic Park takes a starring role in the Cayman Islands Postal Service latest stamp issue, the only series for 2020. Featuring land-based flora and fauna of the Cayman Islands, the 12-stamp issue commemorates the beautiful scenery, wildlife, and even the historic buildings seen at the park. You can buy the new stamps at all post offices in the Cayman Islands. That is your latest local news from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.